Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Saturday edition of the news. I'm Stephanie Woodard. Leading our news tonight, a coalition of Fairbanks residents and community groups in Alaska's two biggest cities have filed a civil lawsuit against the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The groups call on the EPA to force the state to produce a plan addressing pollution in the Fairbanks North Star borough. The groups asked the U.S. District Court in Seattle to declare EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy in violation of the Clean Air Act because the state has failed to submit the plan. A deadline for an improvement plan was due in December of 2012, but has been repeatedly pushed back. The groups want the EPA to publish an official finding that the state has failed to submit the plan, which triggers a firm 2-year deadline. The Alaska legislature yesterday finished its extended session, with the House adjourning at 3 p.m. and the Senate following suit about 50 minutes later. Lawmakers worked for 4 days longer than the mandated 90-day session in order to finish business. The session was scheduled to end last Sunday, but lawmakers went into overtime after failing to reach agreement on an education package. Another delay came because of arguments over a financing plan for the proposed Nick River Bridge project. Governor Sean Parnell said it was a historic session with success on school funding, a gas line project, and paying down state debt.
It was the first time that Republicans and Democrats had a full and robust discussion of education and created significantly new and more opportunities, significantly increased funding. So education, number one. Number two, advancing the gas line. That was significant now that Alaskans have that opportunity to move forward into real engineering, real design work on a gas line. Third, second year of reducing spending dramatically and changing the course of spending for decades to come, paying down that unfunded pension debt.
Victims and families of unsolved homicides gathered today for an annual event. The event is held each year to bring support to the families of victims of murders in the Fairbanks area that have gone cold and unsolved. Organizer Reverend Shirley Lee says there is a pain in the victims' families that they carry with them, and that's the unknown. She says the ceremony is meant to help support them through the years and the trials that they face in that not knowing. The event was held at St. Matthew's Church and each year draws people to support the families.
It's really a gathering of remembrance, just so that the family members of the victims of unsolved homicides in Fairbanks have an opportunity to share their grief, because they carry grief for quite some time, no matter how old the case. But it's also a chance for us to remember that these people are not forgotten. That's the frustration for a lot of the family members, is not knowing, not having any resolution. And I just know it does have lingering effects.
As we told you last evening, the Nenana Ice Classic tripod has officially gone out. According to Sherry Fornes, the Ice Classic's executive director, the tripod fell yesterday afternoon at 3:48 p.m. Fornes told the news center no winners will be announced until all calculations and information has been compiled. Fornes said this is the first year the tripod has ever fallen on April 25th, another record as she called it. Now the amount of this year's jackpot is a whopping $363,627. Last week, BP Exploration Alaska announced it would be selling off a number of its assets on the North Slope. That included all of 2 prospects and half of 2 others. While the financial terms of BP's sale to Hill Corp, an independent oil company, haven't been disclosed, BP says the move is proof that SB 21 is working to get production on the North Slope going, so oil will be moving through the pipeline. Former State Senate President Chancey Croft says the sale demonstrates that Senate Bill 21 isn't stimulating new development as backers said it would. A ballot initiative on whether to repeal SB 21 will be put before voters later this year. BP spokesperson Don Patience says the sale will let the company continue to focus on Alaska's largest oil field and its work on liquefied natural gas.
We sold all of our interest in Endicott and North Star, and then 50% of our interest in Liberty and Milne Point. Long term, there are a lot of benefits for not only BP and Hillcorp, but also for the state of Alaska to have a new investor and a new operator on the North Slope.
All right, when we come back, we'll have more of your interior news. sports, and weather, so stay with us. And welcome back. Volunteers and organizers alike were out this morning and afternoon setting up the Sadler's parking lot for an event to raise awareness. Now, the event is called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, and the Interior Center for Nonviolent Living is putting it on for the first time in Fairbanks. Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is nationwide, and it has been going on for many years in other states. However, Alaska and Fairbanks particularly has a high rate of abuse, be it domestic or sexual, and organizers say we needed an event like this in our city. Everyone who walked today helped to raise awareness.
Right, so far we have 88 people registered to walk today. We're expecting a lot more people to register as they come, and that's 88 men and women who are going to be walking to raise awareness for domestic violence and sexual assault. 57 out of 100 women in the Fairbanks area have experienced intimate partner violence. That's not okay, and everybody who shows up today is doing something about that. They're raising awareness for this. They're learning how to not be a bystander if they know somebody who is either a victim or a perpetrator. We're getting people help today.
It was a beautiful day across the interior, great for outdoor activities, but at Pioneer Park, hundreds were inside for a healthy reason. Mike Schultz has more.
There's a saying that goes, hey, if nothing else, you've always got your health. Well, more and more people are thinking that way, which is probably why close to 1,000 people showed up today at Pioneer Park for the Alaska Health Fair. One doctor says nowadays it's vitally important for everyone to pay attention to their health.
By educating people and seeking preventive care, we reduce our risk factors and we increase our longevity and we age more successfully. So we like people to be ahead of their disease.
Many of today's participants were those that made it a point each year to return for those special exams.
Well, you just, as you get older, you want to know what condition you're really in, and this is one of the better ways to do it, and it's not really very expensive. And they had some pretty good lectures today on dieting and colonoscopies and all the questions you normally have when you're getting up in years.
Well, my wife and I have been coming for quite a while. We've been coming for several years to the health fair, just to kind of keep up with our blood work and try to stay on the healthy side of things.
Well, I come here every year, and to me it's just like having a good medical exam. It's good exposure to new information, and just I like to keep track of the vital signs, and so I thought this is a good way to do it.
I like the fact that we can get a complete battery of tests that cover everything and at a very moderate price.
And then there was that very special case that brought relief and joy.
Today I was worried about a spot I had on my skin, and I was able to have somebody check it and tell me it wasn't cancer. So, I mean, of course, I was encouraged to go to the doctor if he looks differently, but he made me feel good.
Oh, and by the way, the health fair couldn't have happened without the hundreds of volunteers that turned out to help today. Mike Schultz reporting.
Students up at the University of Alaska Fairbanks are gearing up to thaw out, but not with ice. This time it's with some of their work. The students with the UAF Film Department are hosting their annual Thaw Out Film Fest to showcase some of their work throughout the semester. The event will be hosted May 3rd at 7 p.m. at the university. Filmmakers who are featured in the viewing say this is one of the only times they get to present their work to a large number of people.
Yeah, it's difficult to get like a large group together to showcase our work. We usually put it up online or, show it to friends and family, but without film festivals, we don't really have anywhere to show sort of our short films. There's not really a market for it. I fully agree with that. There are a lot of really talented people in the film department, and I think a lot of people get to see their talent during the film festival. There's some really great acting and some really great camera work and directing.
A new cycling business is allowing residents to pre-register for their memberships on Indiegogo.com and become founding members. It's called Fbx, and it's a bike rental system that people can use for fun, transportation, or for both. Organizers have ordered 100 bikes and will place them at 25 locations across Fairbanks this summer. You can find the company on Facebook or Indiegogo.com by searching Fbx. We've provided a link on webcenter11.com. Organizers say the bikes are easy to use, durable, and have advanced features.
actually an American-made bicycle, amazingly enough. And the combination is really amazing. We have really cool bikes with a really cool system. They actually have a little dash that looks like your cell phone that mounts on the handlebars, so you can like log in and pick up the bike, swipe a card, and roll away.
Sports is up next, and Michael Ives has highlights from last night's Ice Dog Hockey Game 4. Also, prep soccer and track take to the fields. Those stories in next when Mike Ives comes up after the break.
Welcome back, Alaska. Michael Ives here with your Saturday sports. Well, we have sunshine and the spring sports are well underway, but we'll start today with a team that is hoping to keep their season on the ice going as the weather improves here around us. Now, with Mike Schultz talking earlier about health, it reminds me of my own personal quest to relieve some stress in my life and to be a generally healthier person. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs, however, are not at all helping me along my journey. Last night's Game 4 on the road in Wenatchee proved only one thing. This team really loves to make us sweat. Tired legs will be the story for tonight's Game 5. Now, after the Wild and Ice Dogs would take it into overtime in Game 4, not just overtime, but 3 overtime periods before it was all said and done. Fairbanks goalie Kevin Aldridge and Wild keeper Chase Perry spent some 100-plus minutes being simply pelted with shots. 103 total shots on goal were recorded, and Aldridge had the biggest numbers, making 56 saves on the night. But it was the few that got in that did it. Victor Lilligren would get the first tally of the night off of an assist from Doug Rose and Todd Burgess. But just over a minute later, it was Wenatchee's Andre Payson striking to even the score at 1. 4 minutes later, it was Nicholas Rivera putting the Wild on top 2-1 heading into the third period of play. Then 8 minutes into the third, it's Brett Gervais getting his first Ice Dog playoff goal and knotting the game at 2 apiece. They would then go on to play 2 scoreless overtime periods before Parker Tumai finds the twine and wins it for the Wild just 38 seconds into the third overtime period. The 3-2 Wild win forces a deciding Game 5 tonight. Now, this makes back-to-back years that Fairbanks and Wenatchee have gone to a Game 5 in the Midwest Division Finals. Last year, Wenatchee won Game 5. For the Ice Dogs and my own health, let's see if they can reverse their fortunes tonight. Now, we will be posting updates on tonight's action on our Facebook page. You can search KTVF Fairbanks there. And on Twitter, there it's at KTVF11 Sports. Then be back here on Monday night for full highlights and recap with Joe Cook. Now, the Region 6 all-school track meet is going on at Lathrop High School this weekend. Today, we saw multiple events taking place, including the discus throw and the shot put, muscle events. And while the fields are still pretty mucky, the athletes are making it happen and working with what Alaska gives them. On the track, it was relay running this morning. Colony continues to have success in boys running over the weekend, with Leon Kopsak taking names and bolting through finish lines. The Lathrop girls running team and Autumn Fournier have also had success in this weekend's meet. And the Sandpits got a workout today as the long jump competition showcased the explosion and balance of our Alaskan student athletes. Now, the next track event will be held right back here in the interior at Lathrop High School this coming weekend. And sticking with prep sports, we look down to the Anchorage Bowl, where the Hutchison and West Valley soccer teams are in action this weekend. Now, the Hutch boys and girls squared off with the Grace Christian Grizzlies last night and would split the pair. The Lady Hawks were able to battle to a 2-2 tie with Grace Christian. Goals from Alexa Rathburn and Katie Hopper had Hutch up early in this one before the Grizz clawed their way back even in the second half. Then on to the boys, where they lost 5-0 to Grace in what was the first action game of the year for both of these Hutch squads. Now, both of these teams get back on the field with South Anchorage today. Now to West Valley, where they lost a pair against the Service Cougars again down in Anchorage. Late on Friday night, the boys fell 2-1 to Service after a late goal by Shane Gillette, and the push from the pack was just not enough. The Lady Wolfpack also lost 3-0 to the Cougars. After losing 5 starters to injury in the first 20 minutes of play, the pack couldn't respond and they fall to 1-3 on this early soccer season. West Valley will be taking on Chugiak today to finish up the weekend road trip. Well, today is the final day of competition at the 2014 Native Youth Olympics in Anchorage, and Fairbanks has been well represented heading to the close. F.E. Cochran student Ravel Sanford was the runner-up in the Eskimo stick pull after losing in the finals to Lower Peninsula's Lloyd Ledover. Madeline Coe, a West Valley High School student, also earned a second-place bid in the 2-foot high kick with a high mark of 6 feet and 4 inches. The 2-foot high kick champion was none other than Autumn Ridley, who, after making a name for herself at last year's WEO event, has dominated the NYO competition. After setting a record in the Alaskan high kick yesterday, she again puts new ink in the record books with her 6-foot, 7-inch, 2-foot kick winner. Another West Valley student, Denali Hodgden, finished 4th in the one-hand reach at 4 feet and 6 inches. Now, nearly 30,000 runners and walkers took part in the 10th annual Pats Run in Arizona this morning. The run honors NFL star Pat Tillman, who left the Arizona Cardinals to become an Army Ranger. Tillman was killed by friendly fire in Afghanistan 10 years ago now. The 4.2-mile run commemorates the number that Tillman wore as a player there at Arizona State. Proceeds from the race go to the Pat Tillman Foundation, and his foundation has awarded nearly 300 college scholarships over the past decade now. The race started and finished at his alumnus ASU's Sun Devil Stadium. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Have a great weekend. Enjoy this fantastic weather. And don't forget, for more sports and for your Ice Dog updates tonight, connect with KTVF Sports on Twitter. Again, it's at KTVF11 Sports, or on Facebook, it's KTVF Fairbanks. Keep on keeping on, Alaska. Stick around for Mike Schultz and your full weather forecast. That's coming up next.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to our newscast. Guys, it was a great day today. Beautiful day once
So
again.
pretty. I just love it.
Yeah, lots of sunshine for the guys walking out there in high heels.
That's right, and the track and field event, too.
Wait,
Sunshine.
the question is, where were you guys in the high heels?
Working here.
You were working
here
here.
working,
I will
yeah.
give you that excuse,
Yeah,
but I did
yeah,
tell the ladies down there, the volunteers, that you guys would be walking next year.
We're going to be busy people.
Take the challenge, guys. You guys, yeah. Okay.
Let's go to our almanac and show you what the numbers look. 54. Actually, today's high up to 58 now. We can update that. The overnight low last night was 31, but it normally is 29. Record high 69. That was in 1994. 4 degrees for the overnight low in 1924. Sunrise and sunset about 16 hours and 36 minutes. A gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. And here's what's going on as far as our satellite and radar. Not a whole lot. Everything is south of the Alaska Range. Once again, the flow is coming out of the east, southeast. And most of the moisture, like I said, is down south of the Alaska Range. We want it to stay there. And as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, you can see some showers around the Kodiak Island area. Cloudy skies over southeast Alaska. Lots of sunshine across the interior, and just scattered clouds over the northern sections. To the lower 48 we go. First of all, starting over the Pacific Northwest, we see some rain falling around Seattle and Portland, Oregon. Then heading eastward, it gets a lot better though. Things look really nice. Lots of sunshine around New York. A few showers in the Chicago area. Heading down to the south, things are starting to get a little rumbly as thunderstorms are moving in from the west. In fact, those thunderstorms are moving across a pretty good area across Texas and New Mexico. We'll show you that in the satellite and radar just a little bit. Out to the west, lots of sunshine to report, and about 74 degrees at Phoenix. Not too bad. Now let's go to that satellite and radar and show you what's happening there. A big blob of moisture that's heading over to the eastern sections of the country, and then when it hits the plains, it's going to explode into lots of severe weather. In fact, here's what it looks like tonight. Severe weather threat for much of the Arkansas and Missouri and Oklahoma, into north of Missouri and into the Dakotas. It's all going to be really a nasty mess, and it's all going to continue next week. In fact, the early outlook for early next week is calling for more storms over the deep south as the jet stream continues to move a lot of storminess from the Pacific coast all the way down across the Central Plains. So some wild weather expected there. Just the opposite here in Alaska. For the northern sections of the state tomorrow, mostly sunny skies at Barrow, cloudy skies in Nome, and partly cloudy for the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, again, lots of sunshine for all three areas, Healy, Delta Junction, and Fairbanks, and temperatures really warming up very nicely. Over the southeastern sections, cloudy skies, some showers in Juneau, and rain is likely for Ketchikan. While out to the southwest, we're looking at, for the most part, rain showers for Cold Bay and Kodiak, and cloudy skies in Bethel. And if you're heading on down to the Anchorage Bowl, again looking at not too bad of weather there, isolated showers at Valdez, showers for Homer, and cloudy skies in Anchorage. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, again looking at 30 degrees for the overnight low, scattered high clouds, a little bit cooler than last night. And tomorrow's forecast, a great day near 60 degrees again, lots of sunshine, and it gets even better for the 5-day outlook. Temperatures right around 60 degrees for Tuesday, right on through Friday. Overnight lows in the mid-30s and no precipitation expected, so not a bad idea to get your car washed, I guess, after all.
I'm going to do yard work.
Can't help but want to get outside and do something, that's for sure.
Kayaking. I mean, the tripod fell yesterday.
Yes, it did.
So, and then you said you pulled up the photo and it was just a beautiful, clear
sky. I mean, a clear river. Yeah, this is pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. That will wrap up the Saturday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us. And be sure and check out our good friend J.R. Lewis. He comes your way weekday mornings at 6:30 for the updates on the Today Show. That's right. All right. Well, from all of us here, from Double Mike, Mike Squared, and Stephanie, have a good rest of your weekend.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.